All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with just over 2 months in the book for the 2022 MLB season, we've already seen, a couple of managers get their walking papers. Last week, it was Joe Girardi of the Philadelphia Phillies. And today, Joe Madden was shown the door by the Los Angeles Angels. Now, both Girardi and Madden have won World Series championships, and they have those on their resumes, obviously, with other clubs. But, in two plus seasons, both of these guys they just couldn't get it done. They basically took over at the same time. And with their respective most recent teams, the Phillies and the Angels, respectively, the teams are mediocre. Madden never had a winning season with the Angels, while Girardi's best mark in Philadelphia came last year when the Phillies finished the year just 82 and 80. And the expectations for both of these clubs coming into this season were real high. I mean, we saw the Phillies go out there and spend and spend and spend, and they have the highest team payroll in franchise history. On the flip side, for the Angels, like I just talked about it on another podcast, you have two MVPs in the middle of that lineup, and you know what? They just can't get it done. And of course, the Angels currently find themselves on a 12-game losing streak, while just before Girardi was fired, Philly had lost 7 of 9. So the thing is, you look at it, and both of these teams, they've tried to make the right moves, but they failed. And they've spent money and they've spent more money wrong. The Angels have spent it on guys who, for the most part, their better years were behind them. And in the case of the Phillies, they overpaid for mediocre guys and expected, great results. You think about it as well. Both of these teams have two of the better players in baseball in the middle of their lineups. The Angels have Mike Trout, and of course, the Phillies have Bryce Harper. And for as good as Mike Trout is, the Angels have only made the playoffs once in his 11 years with the team. And Bryce Harper, he's a two-time NL MVP. Um, he was able to help the Washington Nationals make the postseason multiple times. But with Harper in the middle of their lineup, the Nationals were never able to get out of the first round of the playoffs. Then, on top of that, in Harper's very first year in Philadelphia, what happens? The Nationals go on and win the World Series without him. So you just have to ask yourself, you know, is Bryce Harper or are Bryce Harper and Mike Trout the problem or the solution? And you know what? Right now, for as much individual talent as Bryce Harper and Mike Trout have, five MVPs between them, three from Trout, two from Harper. Two guys, well, definitely in the case of Trout, I think Mike Trout is already a Hall of Famer. And honestly, in the case of Bryce Harper, you can say that, hey, the only other guy who is a two-time MVP that is not in the Hall of Fame is Dale Murphy. So Harper's chances are definitely looking up going forward. And he still obviously has plenty of baseball ahead of him. But nonetheless, this is alarming right here because some people have said online, basically cue to Spider-Man meme with both of these teams. They have high payrolls and they just can't get it done. And then you have superstars in the middle of those respective lineups. For me, I think about it. Bryce Harper is a phenom. He came in and he lived up to the hype from an individual standpoint, but for whatever reason, it has not meshed with his teams in those October moments. He's shown that he can get his team to the postseason. And in the case of Mike Trout, he can't even get to the postseason. And I think this is, you can't really, say this is an MLB problem as, it's an organizational problem, but it's also, there's just something that's off there for whatever reason. Because when you think about great players who have played the game of baseball, and you think about guys who are perennial MVP type players, you know, they're able not only to carry their teams, but also, make those big plays, have those big moments. And of course, both of these guys are capable of it. We saw Bryce Harper step up over the weekend with that grand slam in the bottom of the eighth against Trout's Angels when Philadelphia was trailing by 4 runs to tie that game. And of course, Philly went on to win that game. Bryce Harper has a knack for for those walk-off, marks. What's going on, Afif? How you doing? Thank you so much. Um, but Bryce Harper, he has a mark. He knows how to go out there and make those key plays. But for whatever reason, it just is not coming together in like those key moments, those key team moments for both Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. And on my most previous podcast, I talked about the Angels possibly needing to explore trading Trout. I don't know what the situation is going to be for Philadelphia. They have so many dollars committed to so many different people for a very long time. But I think the Philly situation is easier for a turnaround than is the Angels situation, due to the fact that the Phillies do have some talent in their pitching staff that could possibly propel them to a postseason spot and making a postseason run. On the Angels side, it's a little bit different. They don't have the pitching. That AL East is so tough, and I talked about it at the beginning of the season. You're still probably going to see all of the wild cards coming out of the American League, and if the season ended today, that would be the case. But nonetheless, you think about it where both of your best players, or two of your best players in Major League Baseball, and three players for that mark, when you add Shohei Ohtani into the mix as he's the reigning AL MVP, they're probably going to be missing the postseason again. And this is not a situation where, in yesteryear, whoever won the league, they won the pennant in the regular season, and then they went on to to the World Series, or even from '69 to '93, where we had a situation where you had the league championship series, and you saw more of an opportunity for some of the greater players to be on the postseason stage. Now there's a greater opportunity, and with the fact that there's a strong possibility that two of your best players, in Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, are once again not going to be on that postseason stage, is a very bad look for Major League Baseball. So when it's all said and done, yes, Bryce Harper and Mike Trout are two of the greatest players going right now, but neither one of them looks like they're going to be postseason bound, and it's a darn shame, as they simply have not been able to elevate their respective clubs this season. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off. Say take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.